Hello, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am here working on Mix It Up Monday. This is a hop that I host over on my Facebook community group. That will be linked below. Each month I find a sketch for us to use for these layouts. And what we do with this sketch is we take the sketch, we choose our papers and our products, but we mix it up with mixed media. And you can be very simple and just do ink smushing or just splatters or maybe just stamping, or you can go all out and use all the things on your layout. Any way is fine. If you would like to participate in this hop, please join my Facebook community group. I'd love to have you, and that's where I hold all the information for this monthly hop. So this month's sketch was created by one of our members at the Paper Snob community group. Thank you, Shannon, for allowing us to use your wonderful sketch. I'm going to pop that up here for you so that you can see it. And I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do with this sketch. First off, I have pulled out my 49 and Market Christmas Spectacular. This is such a beautiful collection. And when it came out last year, I was so bummed because I wasn't buying Christmas stuff yet. But once I finished all of my 2015 Christmas stuff, pictures, I did allow myself to purchase this collection. And I've opened it this year to play with. And rather than waiting for me to finish all of my Christmas layouts to get the newer 49 and Market Christmas collection, I went ahead and ordered it. So I have it as well. I've opened it, but I haven't used any of that one yet either. I am going to be stretching this sketch out into a 2-page layout. And mostly that is just because I have several layouts that I need to get finished to finish my 2016 albums. And I am feeling like doing Christmas, which will be a surprise to some people because I usually avoid Christmas layouts. So these are the photos of me opening my stocking in 2016. And so I have a few, or about the same number of photos that are in the sketch. There's I'm not gonna be able to cut them down anymore. It looks like her photos are either 3x3 or 3.5 by 3.5 or something like that. And I'm not gonna be able to cut these down very much more. So I am going to go ahead and use them as 3x4 and stretch it out into a 12x24 layout using these papers. So this is what I have so far. I know this is a mess. I'm going to be using these 2 pieces for my base, and I'm going to pull out another piece of pattern paper for layering purposes, but I'm going to pause. I'm going to get started. I'll be right back. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this gold paint, and I brought in one of my other mats so that I wouldn't put it on my brand new Fiskars mat. And I'm going to use my brayer. Now this probably isn't the most ideal place to put paint, but it's what I had handy. So I am just kind of putting a little bit of that gold paint in the middle and just kind of toning down those stripes in the middle just a little bit so that it doesn't detract from the photos when I do get those on there. I'm going to set that mat and the brayer aside, and I'll clean it later as soon as I'm finished with this part. Next up is I'm grabbing a stencil. I'm going to be using, I think it's Evergreen and Holly by Vicki Boutin, one of those stencils. This is probably one of my favorite Christmas stencils. I just adore this star stencil. It's gorgeous and funny. I adore the piece of paper that I was going to, that it is based off in the Vicki Boutin collection as well. So this is Lunar Paste, and it is kind of a greenish color when it dries. It's very subtle. And if it was on darker paper, I think it would be more visible than it is. The other paste that I have sitting next to it is a Bo Bunny green glitter paste. And I was going to use it on the striped paper using the same stencil. But when I opened it, You'll see here in a minute that I stick my spatula inside it and it is rock solid. I don't even think I've opened it that long ago, but it's not even savable. So I just throw it away and I pull the lunar paste back out. And like I said, I'm going to use the same stencil and I'm just going to spread that around on here just like I did on the other page. Now, because I know where my photos and things are going, I'm being very careful not to put very much of this where the photos are going to land on this side, because I don't want to cover up the beautiful texture paste. I want it to peek through my photos and my embellishments. Now, when I turn the camera off and I've pulled off the stencil, I realize that I have a straight edge on that right hand side, and that's not the look I was going for that right hand side. And so I'll lay that stencil back down and I'll add some more. And so as you can see here, it's not a straight edge on that side. So I did allow this texture paste to completely dry before this step. It was about an hour when it was dry. I let it sit a little bit longer because there is a curing time. The top layer might be dry, but it might be wet a little bit underneath. And anyway, I had a workout to do, so I just let it dry fully. And I'm spraying some of my Prima inks over the top of it to bring out the color, or to bring out the design a little bit more on that pattern paper. So my next step here is I have this piece of paper here, and it's actually, the front side of it is the packaging for this collection. As you can see here, I have scuffed up one edge, the edge that is going to be off to the right. I didn't feel the need to scuff up the sides that were attached to the top and bottom and side of the paper because it just wouldn't show as well. And I'm fighting a losing battle with the washi tape. I was trying to tack the page down a little bit as I worked so that it would help bend it back into shape. That did not work. I tried. Anyway, as the layout dries and once it goes into an album, being in the album itself will flatten it out completely. I just wanted to flatten it out because it's much easier to photograph a layout if it's flat. So I am scuffing up all the edges of these photos, and you will notice that there are only 4 photos now. And that's because when I paid attention to what I printed, there were only 4 photos that were different. 2 of the photos were of me holding my stocking, and I decided I didn't need to scrapbook both of those. And so I just chose the more clear photo of the 2. And in place of that 5th photo, I'm going to create a journaling element. It's going to be a big embellishment cluster with room to journal. And that works out for me because then I can just write, tell the story, and I don't have to make room for it another way. So this paper on the left hand side, I love that door, and I am actually going to cover it up with another door, but you're going to be able to see the tree that's in front of that door peeking out of the door that I put on it instead. So all of these pieces that I am scuffing up with my Tim Holtz Distress tool were fussy cut from the packaging of the Laser Elements. If you're familiar with 49 Market, you know that the backside of their product information sheet always has stuff for you to fussy cut, or as in the case of the paper collection, there was another piece of pattern paper. And that is something that I find absolutely fun and amazing about 49 Market, that you don't waste any of it. You can use any and all of it, and that's amazing to me. So I'm just scuffing up all of the pieces. I'm going to use this postcard or envelope or whatever it's supposed to be, piece of mail with a stamp on it. That is going to be my journaling block. I am covering up the stamp, and I've put that heart. That heart, you may have seen another one just like it in another layout recently. A friend of mine has that set of dies from Tim Holtz, and she brought like a whole stack of them because she was hanging out with me at my house scrapbooking, and she gave me 2 of them. They've been sitting on my space waiting for me to find layouts for them to go with. And so I finally did, and I've used both of those now. So again, I'm still just scuffing up all of the pieces that I fussy cut. This label, I am going to use it for a placeholder for one of the little chipboard phrases that I chose. And I believe I also write the year on it, or maybe underneath it. I can't remember now. So the photo of me holding my stocking, if it had been printed bigger, if I had planned this a little better than I did, I could have printed it bigger and it would have been a lot larger element on this page. But this turns out really well. I'm using all of these little pieces that I fussy cut, and I'm layering them up underneath my photos and everything. So I also pulled out some of the acetate pieces. I chose 2 wreaths and then some of the holly branches to use on this layout. Again, I am trying to use every little piece that I fussy cut so I don't have to put it back. And I've done very well with that. On the right hand side, I'm using the wood grain heart to hold the 25th. And then you can see that little triangle there. That is holding a bunch of stars. And I'm going to use, I think, 3 of those stars on this layout in total. Here is the other wreath. It is going on the top left corner. And this is why I'm going to be covering up that door, because I'm making a larger embellishment place there around my title. I'm using Happy Holiday for my title. And now here's that door. I have a Christmas tree too that I'm going to place in front of it. And then I'm tucking a piece of the acetate underneath my title on the right hand side and adding a chipboard phrase to the right hand side. And then I have that bell cluster that I'm going to hang above the door. And then I have a bunch of other little pieces that I'm just going to start kind of playing with. I have the mailbox here that's like says post to Santa, Santa post or something like that. And I'm going to put that down here on that lower right hand corner of the left hand side with a present. I am going to make a very small embellishment cluster there, pull in another piece of acetate and another little holly piece over there on the right hand side, another phrase is going to go on the box that Santa is holding. Initially, I thought I was covering up that part with Santa, so I'm glad that I was able to work him in. And now I'm scuffing up the door. I'm not going to scuff up the tree or the bell because it just doesn't feel like it would work very well. I'm adding some fun foam adhesive onto the pieces so that they'll be popped up, and when I glue them down there'll be some texture and depth there. I'll also be putting some foam adhesive underneath the present that's by the Santa Claus that I laid on top of that little post box, because I really love to put foam adhesive under some of my elements, and it's not super thick, but it still gives that texture and depth that I enjoy looking at on my pages. So next I'm going to dump out those stars from that little triangle. And I thought I might use more of them than I did, which is why I pulled so many out. But in the end, I just really couldn't find a place where I felt like they looked good without being too cluttered. So now I have these little baubles, and I'm going to pull off the Christmas candy canes. And I thought I might hang them off the tree like you would a real Christmas tree, but they're not quite the right size and they don't look great. So instead, I'm going to just sit here with the stars. I'm using the red stars and then some of the little green circles, and I'm going to decorate this tree with these wishing baubles. And I use one of the larger circle elements, it's a poinsettia, for the topper. I didn't want to come in with a bell or anything else since I already had that bell swag above the door. I just wanted to put a little bit of color on that tree. I have these buttons galore and more little wood grain pieces. They are covered in a glitter paint. They're really cute, and I pull out a couple of those, and I'm going to use, I think I end up using 2 of those on here, but I've had them in my stash for quite a while. They were sent to me as part of a design team product packaging, and I didn't use them while I was on the team, and I thought, you know, I might as well just get these used up. So now I'm ready to stop and glue. All right, I got this layout completely finished. Off camera, I glued everything down, added some foam adhesive and some splatters, which is why I'm removing those 2 pieces that I was using to cover my photos. So I'm fairly happy with the way that this turned out. I took her sketch, and this is basically what her sketch looked like, and then I spread it across a 2-page layout so that I could get all of this wonderful goodies on here. I did a lot of layering with the 49 Market products, and I love the pop of texture paste here with the splatters and stuff. It's very pretty and the look that I was absolutely going for. I love that I was able to use up some of the acetate pieces because this is not a complaint, but there are a lot of them in that package, and I feel like I have to use them on every page. I'm quickly running out of paper for this collection, so I've got to start using those on every page. So I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who are here, who take the time to like, comment, and subscribe. If you are new here, I would absolutely love to have you subscribe. If you would love to play along with this hop, please join my community group, which is listed below. Also, there is a playlist down there for this hop, for all of the videos. I always list my Instagram participants first, so make sure that you check out those Instagram creators as well. They are different than the YouTube creators. These are my friends who don't have or don't do YouTube channels, and so I would love for them to play along. If you don't do YouTube and you want to play along on Instagram, that's great. If you want to participate in the challenge on the Facebook community group, that's awesome. There is an album available for you to plop your Mix It Up Monday layout into, and you can play along. I enjoy seeing everybody's work, and this is always a fun hop to participate in. I want to thank you again for being here. You guys have a great Monday and a great rest of your week. Bye.